In the State Securities Board. What's up, everybody? Bobby Gray here, joining you live again from beautiful Hong Kong, where I'm in town to speak this morning at the DAT Summit, where we're the title sponsor, giving a speech this morning about um, from gold to Bitcoin to Texas, the evolution of honest money. I'm very excited about that. I don't want to be too late. I know we got a lot of to talk about today. We'll go through it as quickly as we can. Just starting my first cup of coffee. So, good morning and thank you for tuning in. I see my friends and co hosts are out there: Gage, Mitchell, Rue, Tim. Feel free to jump in and say hello if you're bored or think we need to clarify or cut me off if I go too deep into anything. Of course, if you're here on this call, you've probably already heard the news. We're all graduated. Let me share my screen with you here real quick. Hold on a second. Let's see if I can share a couple things with you. Um, there we go. Well, first let's talk about what TEXITcoin is. Maybe you're new here. Maybe you haven't been around for the last 98 weeks, uh, discussing week in, week out the most transparent, open, and honest project maybe on planet Earth. I don't think there's anything out there today that goes to the lengths that we do to be upfront with you about who we are, where we are, what we're doing, how we're doing it, what our strategy is, what the risks are, what the rewards could be if we're right. Um, and so maybe you're new. Maybe you've been around, maybe you've been tuned in for a while, but maybe it's your first day. So if it's your first day, welcome to day one. You've caught us at a very interesting time in our lives. But TEXITcoin is a digital currency. It's not much unlike Bitcoin or Litecoin or Dogecoin. In many ways, it uses proof of work mining to process transactions into blocks, and it bundles those blocks together in a chain using blockchain technology and puts together a network that the world is able to use to transact, to build, to grow. We've got lots of ideas on what we want to do with the network. You've got ideas on what you can do with our network, but it's the Made in America blockchain. And that's really important for a bunch of reasons. Number one, the only thing that really makes us substantially different from other coins that are out there is that we're exclusively building our mining infrastructure in Texas. You know, Texas has got its own story, its own culture, its own sayings. It's a huge state if you're not familiar. And we think that, Texas is very independent minded and, does things the Texan way. And we're investing in that future. We're investing in that future by putting physical machines, infrastructure, grid connections in the state of Texas to support and become the backbone of trust for our chain. And that's really important because, like I said, Texas Coin is a layer one digital currency that's just like Bitcoin and Litecoin. And so that's an important part of what's going to establish the foundation of our case moving forward. But that's what we're doing. We're building a layer one in Texas, and the reason we're doing it is because I'm a huge fan of crypto. I wasn't always that way. It took me years to understand why cryptocurrency is so important, and it is. But it took me a long time to understand what I was missing. And what I was really missing, which hit me at the last minute, like a ton of bricks, is that crypto is the future of money. And if we don't understand these technologies, we're going to get dragged into these things kicking and screaming later. And so we need to wrap our minds around crypto. And I started TexiCoin as, an effort to go out and bring all of my gold and silver friends into cryptocurrency. What did we miss? Why did we not understand it? Gold is one thing, crypto is the other. And so, TexiCoin has been working hard to bring people up to speed about this financial technology that might just be the most honest money that planet Earth has ever seen. And that's important to me. I've been working on that mission since 2008 when I started the American Open Currency Standard. It's the same mission today, it's the same words today that I, have used over the years that I spoke to Congress back in 2012. It's the same story. The only thing that's different is I swapped out the gold and silver horse and buggy for the digital currency rocket ship because it's faster, it's better. It sheds off its physical form, but increases in terms of usefulness and quality. We're not going back to the days of bartering with, silver, gold, and copper coins in the street. Unless the lights go out, unless the zombies take over, unless the grid goes down, I guess all of these things in 2026 are possible. But unless those things happen, the future is going to be bright, but it's going to be digital. And we need to prepare for that bright future, which means we need to learn about crypto. And we need to learn about crypto the right way, the easy way, the safe way, how to watch out for scams, how to watch out for hackers and man in the middle attacks, and the whole realm of digital risk that's out there in this world. And so I've come to you every week for the last 88 weeks to share my story, to teach you a thing or two, and to invite you to join me for my journey. And apparently, our friends over at the Texas State Security Board think that that might just be wrong. And I'm eager for what's coming next to get here. And so we don't really know what's coming next. We're working through it, kind of 24/7, all hands on deck. But what's coming next is a rite of passage for us. I've had lots of conversations with people over the last few weeks, and they say, hey, man, don't dilute yourself. Don't be naive. Don't think that you're going to be the one project that goes from zero to the billion-dollar value without having an enforcement action, a can of worms opened up on it. And so, I said, well, I hear you, but why would we be um, under scrutiny like that? We couldn't be more transparent. We couldn't be louder and more vocal than we are. We couldn't be more involved with, the place where we are, the community events that we sponsor. They obviously know about us. They obviously know that we're going way out of our way to be as transparent and accountable as we can. And if you break down our project into its component parts, not a single one of them is wrong. Is there anything illegal about Bitcoin, crypto? No. They've already made it very clear that, Bitcoin is not a security. Well, we're a clone of Litecoin, which is a clone of Bitcoin. Okay. Is there anything illegal about network marketing? No. It's plenty illegal about pyramid schemes and Ponzi schemes, but network marketing itself is, a fully legitimate, marketing strategy to bring people and products together. Is there anything illegal about mining? No. The SEC just ruled what, a year ago that crypto mining is not a security. So what are we talking about here? And so I look at it as just one of those things that, was bound to happen. We knew that if we were going to continue being loud and sharing our story, all over the city, all over the state, all over the country, all over the globe, that at some point, sooner or later, someone was going to come knocking. And I don't really hold it against them. What do they know? How could they know that we're the one project in this space that's actually legitimate? It's impossible to know that. And the only real challenge is that they don't actually have to know that for sure, or they don't have to like really think too much otherwise. It costs them very little to start an enforcement action. It costs them very little to send off a cease and desist. It costs them very little, and I'll show you how poorly researched and put together it is in just a moment here. And my friends are probably gonna be like, stop it, stop it. But guys, you got to remember we've built this project on the idea of full transparency, to a fault sometimes. We share with you the good, the bad, and and everything in between. And so, we're going to take this, we're going to take it on the chin, we're going to take it together, and we're going to get through it together. And I cannot even just imagine yet what happens on the other side. Of course, we don't want to make forward-looking statements, but we can look at some examples of other coins that have been through this, like Hex and Pulse Chain, like XRP, like Cardano. It happens to pretty much everyone except for Bitcoin. So maybe there's something to be said for the strategy of staying anonymous and and hidden in the shadows while you're building out a crypto. But anyway, long story short is that's what we're dealing with today. And it's extremely challenging and it's extremely frustrating for a bunch of reasons. Number one, you got to remember we don't have any attorneys. We've got lots of people that know attorneys. We've got plenty of attorneys that are part of our mining community that have, said to us from time to time, hey, you should probably sit down with an attorney and get a plan together for what you're going to do when that day comes. Um, and and so, this is all brand new. We don't have, boardrooms full of attorneys on retainer that were just sitting around waiting for this stuff to come in. Why? Either because we deluded ourselves or because we legitimately haven't been doing anything wrong. Take your pick as to what the justification is. Point is, it's time for us to get prepared. And again, better late than never. And time is of the essence because we've got a clock on us. And so that's number one. But but the other challenge is bank accounts. Man, how many bank accounts having been frozen over the years have we dealt with? 20? A lot. And so that has happened to us now as well. And so we're gonna have to struggle. We're gonna have to figure out how to find money to retain counsel, how to find money to make payroll. Fortunately, all the money that comes in, most of the money that comes in for week 98 sales is in crypto, which means paying commissions, as we have done every week for the last 97 weeks. Should be easy. But it's when these things happen, it just makes our job a little bit more difficult, which is very frustrating because we would like to put our time and attention into growth, into sharing our message, sharing their story, sharing the peace and prosperity that we'd like to bring to our friends around Texas and the rest of the world. We'd like to amplify that, and of course, this gives us a pretty big microphone now. Megaphone, microphone, gives us a big phone. And so. That's there's some good and there's some bad that comes out of this. We go through it. We come out alive on the other side. We've got some reputational damage. We've lost some friends along the way, and that's sad and that sucks. But as we get through it, the crypto industry goes, "You made it. Come with us." Maybe more likely to accept this as one of their own. And another thing that's interesting about this is as you go through this, and let me share my screen with you so you can understand what we're talking about here. That's not the right screen sharing button. Let's go here. So anyway, first of all, this is the DAT summit that I am going to be late for in 17 minutes. I think I'm speaking around an hour from now. So I've got to wrap up here. Oh, there's that guy. We know him. Get to speak along some other great people in the industry. This is Nikita, our new PR company, just in time. We've had crisis management meetings over the last couple of days, and so that's been fun. If you scroll down here a little bit more, there's the agenda. There's the 9:15, the 9:45, so on and so. What time am I on? I'm on at 11:25. That's 3 hours from now. I've got time. 11:25 to 11:35. That's a very short keynote. And keynote two. You would think that with a keynote, there would be one of them. Um, so anyway, so that's where we are. That's where this is going down. And there is TEXITcoin, the sponsor for this year. And so what we're dealing with right now is what you can find on the homepage of minetxc.com if you need an exact point of reference. And I'm trying to keep it fun. I'm trying to keep it kind of whimsical here, guys. That may piss you off. You might be looking at that and saying, "Oh, guy likes to make jokes with my money." And no, that's not it. What we're trying to do is we're trying to be elegant as we go through this process. Some of us are like up in arms, calling for all kinds of crazy things. Some of us are, giving recommendations and legal advice, though we're not attorneys. So a lot of people have a lot of different opinions and a lot of different strategies. My goal is to go through this professionally, to go through it as a gentleman, which is really hard when they freeze all of your bank accounts. You go, oh, all right. Well, we thought we'd play nice, but it's really hard to do that when you've taken away our ability to retain counsel. And so I would like to go through this and come out clean on the other side, as I have done many times in my life, through challenging situations, professionally. And so the message that we've got up here right now is we're going through it, and we want to share uh, all the information with you as we learn it and discover it along the way. Dear miners, affiliates, networkers, and friends, pursuant to Texas State Securities Board Order Number ENF-26-CDO-1893, MineTXE is no longer accepting new miners or the acquisition of additional hash power by existing miners. Tune into our social media channels to stay up to date on the latest developments. Existing miners can log in and manage your account below. Thank you for 98 weeks of fun, profit, and friendship. Bobby, that's me. And so compliance mode activated. With our little Texas armadillo there, looking way more serious than normal. And so, again, guys, you might not like the strategy, you might not like the humor in it, but we're going to get through this. I think that's the most important point to make on this call. This is something that happens to everybody that goes to the top of the crypto industry. We thought that we'd be different, whether that's delusional or optimistic or just based on the fact that we're not doing anything wrong. And we'll break that down in a few minutes as well. We thought that it would be different. Apparently, maybe not so much. Um, but they have handed us a bit of a softball here. And so there's some like fan theories going on about exactly why they handed us a bit of a softball. But I'd like to go through it and I'd like to come back together on the other side, friends. And, one of the things that I've really valued about this project is that I've made so many friends. The guys that are closest to me, the people that are closest to me, and yeah, they're all guys, are called Lone Star Rangers. The people that I invite into my home to break bread, to go down the zip line, to, hang out by the fire pit sharing stories, maybe drink a little too much and hug it out are Rangers. And the rest of you that have decided to take a risk, take a leap of faith, and join me for this journey of honest money are friends. And I appreciate the risk that you've taken. I appreciate the commitment that you've made to this project. I hope that you listened to what I said many, many, many times and didn't bite off a chunk that was bigger than what you could chew. I hope that you didn't make a decision that was uncomfortable and has put you in a bind today. I hope that you use caution as you explore all this craziness that the cryptocurrency industry has to offer. And there's a lot of craziness, and some of it's even good. I hope for us together. And I hope most of all that we go through this, we take it for what it is. We take it, one step at a time. We take it professionally. We take it openly. We take it honestly, and we make it through to the other side together as friends. That's a big hope. It's a big ask because the text messages are already coming in saying, "Hey man, just give me my money back. I know you have it." Slow down, calm down. We're gonna get through this. We're gonna get through it together. We're gonna be friends on the other side. At least I hope. But let me show you what we're dealing with here, and we'll just run through some pieces of it real quick to show you kind of how silly it is. But we mentioned the exact ENF 60 blah blah blah. We should be able to search this on Google and find it on the Texas State Security Board website, which is really important because you want to make sure that you're getting good and reliable information. Like, I don't know if you remember it, but some number of months ago, I got a message from someone with a clip to a newspaper article saying that we were all indicted in jail, handcuff, arraignment coming in. This was like 6 months ago. And I was like, guys, you know how easy it is to like ask your chat GPT to draft up some completely fabricated fake news? Like, that's the world we live in today. It's 2026, man. Who knows what to believe? I'd like you to think that you can believe what we talk about here. I'd like you to think that we're getting together here to go through good information and to make sure that we've got the best quality and version of it so that we can make best decisions. Guys, if you don't know what's real or what's true, how can you make a good, educated decision? And so that's what we get into on these calls, and they're all recorded and transcribed. And I am sure that many of the words can and will be used against me at some point someday in a court of law. Be that as it may, were we recording? We are recording. Okay, good. Well, hopefully one of you is recording. Hi, Your Honor. See you soon. So anyway, let's get into the facts as they exist, which we can find on the website. I've got it pulled up here as well, but we're going to assume that the version that's posted to their site is similar and or identical to the version that was emailed to me, and it looks like it is pretty similar. So let's get started. But this is what we got from the Texas State Securities Board, an emergency cease and desist order. Now, the first thing that you got to understand is that an order means business. It's not a nasty gram. It's not a pretty please with sugar on top. It's an order. It's an actual order. And what that means is that if you violate the order, there's some teeth, and we'll look at the teeth at the end of the PDF. But that's really number one. And so while we would like to be here, all kinds of like bad boy like renegade style. We do have lives, we do have families, and we don't want to see anyone get in trouble over this kind of stuff. We're going to work through these things, through the proper channels. But when an order comes down, unfortunately, we do have to take it seriously. And so it is an order. That's an order. And so anyway, so it's an emergency cease and desist order. Another important word here is emergency, which means they got it without any kind of court hearing. They went to somebody somewhere, commissioner or something, I don't know, and they said, "Hey, we need an emergency order to immediately, stop this thing in its tracks." And we do that with the idea of protecting people. And so you'll see emergency restraining orders, injunctions, but they're all, usually temporary. And I'll show you the kind of the temporariness of this as we get through it as well. Let me zoom in a little bit so you can see it. But anyway, we start with the official notice issued by the Department of Securities Commissioner, blah, 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 pursuant to some document somewhere in Texas government code. Um, and it has seen evidence sufficient for the Deputy Securities Commissioner to find that. And let me just show you where we started off on a completely strange and wrong foot. Let me tell you the findings of fact. TEXIT coin can be served at a a garage in McKinney, Texas that houses nothing other than cryptocurrency miners. Mine TXE, which has a headquarters, it's in McKinney. It's not on Rose Garden Drive, can be served at that same garage that resides on a dirt road in McKinney, Texas, that holds cryptocurrency miners. Blockchain Mint, the company that manufactures the cold storage coins, can be served at that very same garage that does nothing other than hold a bunch of cryptocurrency miners. And last but not least, number four, Robert J. Gray, that's me, um, who has a Texas driver's license and, lives and resides in the state of Texas, is the founder of Respondent TEXIT Coin, Respondent Mine TXE, and Respondent Mint. And he can be served at that same garage on that dirt road that does nothing other than hold a bunch of cryptocurrency miners, or the place where he hasn't lived in a year. So let me tell you where we get started on the statement of fact. The state of Texas, we're not talking about some random government somewhere. We're talking about the state of Texas that has all my information. My current address is on my driver's license. Let me tell you, it's not on a dirt road in McKinney, Texas, or in a garage that's housing cryptocurrency ASIC miners. So our statement of fact is pretty far off in our opening paragraph. You would think that they would have a database over there somewhere with all their real ID, 2026 stuff. It's my real home address is on my driver's license. State of Texas should have a copy of it somewhere. So anyway, it gets kind of um more and more strange as you go through it. I don't think we're going to go through every line item. I'm going to skim through it with you here. But that's kind of like where we start looking at this thing with the facts. And I don't live there. I don't live there. I can't be served at either one of those places. Um, and then it gets some good information. We're inexpensive, mineable, blockchain-based cryptocurrency. Yeah, okay. We manufacture cold storage coins. Okay. We not register with the Texas Secretary of State. I don't know why things were not authorized because we've got, we run as a sole proprietorship and we have DBAs for the things that we do. And then it gets to we're issuing passive investments in cryptocurrency mining packages that are representing that once investors purchase a package, they have to do is sit back and enjoy the ride. Of course, they seem to have missed the rest of the sentence here. And of course, there's much more to it than that, as you would know if you read your welcome email. Respondents are using a multi-level marketing network of sales agents to offer and sell these mining packages, and they're paying bonuses and commissions. I'll give them a 50% on that. A lot of people in the multi-level marketing industry tell us that we don't have a multi-level marketing product for the reasons that we've discussed plenty of times on this call. We're using social media. These sales agents are using sales or social media, online media, offer money packages. Respondents are engaging in illegal, fraudulent, deceptive, and/or misleading practices in the connection with the offer of money packages to Texas residents, as described. Blah blah blah. It creates immediate and irreparable harm to the public. Okay. So then they go through and break down some of the basics that you can find on our website. They even do a pretty good job of listing the packages available and even some of the elements of the comp plan. Hey, there's the office address, in case you were wondering. Um, let's keep going here. Respondents affiliate program. Well, they call it an affiliate program. What happened to MLM? Um, Opportunity to join through multi-level marketing matrix. Joining a multi-level marketing. Okay, you got a 1-2 free bonus. Yeah, that sounds about right. Keep scrolling down. There's our comp plan laid out. Widespread promotion and solicitation across Texas, United States. That's kind of cool. It's kind of cool that they mentioned that we're actually promoting. But I think 23 and 24 are wrong. 24 says respondents and their sales agents are using radio advertisements, billboards, sponsorships, and more to promote the mining package investments and to recruit new investors and sales agents. Guys, I don't know about you, but if you've ever seen a billboard, it says TXC, a live price, a logo, and it says mine trade spend. I don't know exactly how you would consider that to be a solicitation. But hey, it's 2026. We just make things up. Additionally, respondents and their sales agents. Sorry, let me get back to sharing my screen. YouTube, Facebook, blah, 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 registration violations. It says mining packages have not been registered by qualification, notification, or coordination. No permit is granted for the sale in Texas. The fraud and the concealment of the Mulligan Mint bankruptcy. This one's really interesting. This one's really interesting for a couple reasons. In connection with the offer and sale of mining packages, respondents, and remember, we're talking about me when we say respondents, are touting respondents' Gray's experience, but are intentionally failing to disclose that on or about September 13, 2013, respondent Gray's company, Mulligan Mint Inc., filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy in the United States Bankruptcy Court, Northern District Judges, and there's the case number in case you want to look that up, which was ultimately converted into a Chapter 7 liquidation bankruptcy and closed on or about March 1st, 2021. That's interesting. I didn't know it was actually closed. So that's a really strange one. It's really strange for a couple different reasons. Number one, when have I ever intentionally concealed that? Guys, in our minor chat group, we had a philosophy and character topic where we went through these things in incredibly detailed form. You know, I would say that if anything, I've done the opposite. I've used it as a virtue for a lot of different reasons. Number one, owning mistakes. Number two, learning from mistakes. Number three, the thing that set me on a path to end up in Asia and discover all that is cryptocurrency on this side of the world. Um, so I can't imagine anyone. out there that would say that I intentionally concealed that. Number one. Number two is, do you know what you'd have to do to prove that I intentionally concealed it in court? You'd have to like get me on video or on phone somewhere on a recording that says, hey, I'd like to invest in your, your security, and but the only way I would do it and give you money is if you told me that you were never involved in like a Mulligan Mint bankruptcy, and then I have to be like, yeah, no, not even sure what you're talking about. Like the burden of proof for that is so strange and incredible and so unrelated that it really makes no sense. It almost puts this whole document in a weird category of kind of nonsensical makeup. Anyway, keep going. Fraud in connection with the offer. Respondents are intentionally failing to disclose information, assets, liabilities, and capitalization. Really? Not sure how they got that. Have they seen the MindTXC website? In connection with the offer and sale of responses to direct investors choose pay be protect. Yeah, that's true. Um, well, let's not say anything's true. Let's say, yeah, okay. In connection with the offer and sale, my sponsors intentionally fail to disclose material facts about the operations. Uh, guys, I, I, I don't, I don't get it. Don't they know that we do calls twice a week, three times, four times a week to disclose anything and everything to our community? Material misleading? Material misleading, otherwise likely to deceive the public because person who offers sell securities, I don't think we're a security, guys. Blah, blah, blah. Conclusions. Mining packages are securities as the term is defined in section 4001-0068 of the Texas Security Act. Obviously, we're going to have to spend a lot of time reading that document. Um, huh. Maybe they forgot to read the publication from the SEC about how cryptocurrency mining is not a security. Responses are violating blah 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 by offering securities for sale in Texas when securities are not registered. Same thing. Responses are securities. Responses are engaging in fraud in connection with the offer sale of securities. Securities. Material misleading, otherwise likely to deceive the public. Not sure where they get that. Respondents irreparable harm, so on and so forth. So here we get to the orders. It is ordered that respondents immediately cease and desist from offering the sale of any security in Texas until the security is registered. Now, if you go back through this whole thing, guys, it's talking about mining packages. It's talking about mining packages. It's talking about seat on the rocket ship. It's talking about, the comp plan. It's talking about the affiliate program. It's talking about what you get when you put your money in, mining packages, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And so I really want you to pay attention to this for a bunch of different reasons. Number one, the blockchain will continue to operate. The mine will continue to operate. It doesn't say anything in there about the mine. There are lots of mines in Texas. Ours is one of them. And so the mine is still on, the mine is still operating, and the mine is still paying out the daily reward to the miners. Okay, so that's number one. We're not turning that off because it's not really mentioned in this document. This document's really talking about the sale of mining packages. And so that's why you've gotten this whimsical, hey, we're on compliance mode right now. Oh no, where'd my pop-up go? Bring my pop-up back. There it is. We're in compliance mode because we're not accepting new miners or the acquisition of additional hash power by existing miners, which is what they are claiming to be a security, right? And so, so the mine is still operating, the network's still operating, the apps still work, the daily reward still happens. All of those things are, from my understanding, not really what's referenced in this document. And so that was really the first question I had when I got it. It was like, what are we talking about here? We manufacture copper cold storage wallets. Do I have to stop doing that? Is that what you're saying is a security? So we want to err on the side of caution. And so we've put that halt on the website. We've disabled the forum. We're not accepting new miners. We're not allowing existing miners to buy existing mining packages, as they're called in that document. And so that's really the first step that we took, specifically because this thing keeps talking about mining packages and the order. Ordered cease and desist for offering the sale any security in Texas. Okay. Now, look, you might be looking at this and saying, "Whoa, bro, it says in Texas. Why did you turn it off? Why not let people outside of Texas continue to do business?" Well, the answer to that's really simple. All of our accounts are frozen. And so if you send us money and we need to pay commission and we're unable to do that, then all of a sudden now we've become the fraud that they have accused us of being. They're going to find out soon that we've done our job, we've taken care of our obligations, whether they like it or not. But we have to shut the whole thing down so long as we don't know that we have the ability to follow through. Anybody here read Atlas Shrugged? Show of hands, Atlas Shrugged readers out there? Got a couple hands. Remember the part in Atlas Shrugged where Hank Reardon's mom is like, "Yo, I went to buy groceries the other day and they shot me down. They said that they would need you to come in and kind of like sign for it for me. Could you do that?" And he's like, "No." His mom's like, "Why not? We're talking about groceries. We're talking about a couple bucks worth of groceries. What is it that makes you think that that's, too much to ask for?" He's like, "Look, mom, they froze my bank accounts. I don't know if I have the ability to repay it. I don't care if it's $5 or $5 million. They froze my bank accounts. It was a government clerical error, so they said. Um, but if you're not sure if you can follow through on something, then you got to be really careful about giving your word that you'll do it. And so when people put their cash in, I'm expected to perform. I'm expected to be the bookkeeper that manages it well. I'm the guy that, makes sure that the commissions get paid on time. I'm the guy that makes sure that we allocate that to buy the mining power that the money comes in for. I'm the guy that's supposed to make sure that we keep the lights on and pay the salaries and payrolls. We had to lay off a lot of people again at the office this week because they locked our accounts. And so, to the extent that we're expected to perform, we have to have tools and resources. If we don't have access to those tools and resources, then we can't look you in the eye and give you a high level of confidence that we're going to be able to follow through. And because of that, we've frozen it for everyone. Thank you for understanding that, guys. I know that's a big pill to swallow, a tough nut to swallow, rising pill to ship. So that's order number one. It is further ordered that respondents immediately cease and desist from acting as securities dealers, agents, investment advisors, or investment advisors representative in Texas until they are registered. It is further ordered that respondents immediately cease and desist from engaging in any fraud in connection with the offer of sale of security in Texas. It is further ordered that respondents immediately cease and desist from offering a security in Texas that are containing a statement that is material misleading or otherwise to deceive the public. So on and so forth. Okay, so here's the part that we're working on right now. Pursuant to this section, you may request a hearing before the 31st day after the date you were served with this order. Does email constitute service? The request for a hearing must be in writing, direct to the Securities Commissioner and the state the grounds for the request to set aside or modify the order. Failure to request a hearing will result in the order becoming final and non-appealable. Okay. So, guys, this is where we're working right now. We are working to set aside or modify the order. And let's go through exactly what that means. Set aside means eliminate, means get rid of it, quash it. And certainly that's the goal. Look, when you get stuff like this, they throw a bunch of stuff at the wall. They check to see if you run. If you're running a scam, you're probably going to go and do exactly what BitConnect did when they got this letter in December of 2017, or maybe it was January. But I'll never forget the day that I was sitting on the toilet. I don't remember the date, but I was on the toilet and I read a press release that came out saying this exact same thing. State of Texas, same guys, Securities Board has issued a cease and desist to BitConnect, and boy, did they shut down and shut down fast. This is a global operation. I don't even know what they're doing in Texas. I don't think they have anything in Texas. But they looked at this document and they said, what a great time for us to shut down and run. And shut down and run they did. And that's exactly what we're not going to do. We're going to meet this thing head on. We're going to retain the best attorneys that are the most familiar and experienced in these kind of matters, and we're going to deal with it. We're going to get them to set aside or modify this order. How and why? Well, let me just give you a couple basics. Number one, as we've already gone through, there are a lot of factual inaccuracies in this document. They don't even know where I live. So we got to deal with the facts, and I got to go through line by line by line and give a formal statement to each one of these things to the attorneys so that they know what they're working with here. They know, what we think the government got wrong. Number one. Number two is obviously, we need some clarification on the blockchain. Are you saying we need to unplug the shipping containers of mining hardware? Is that what you're saying is a security? And they go, no, 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 no. That's a blockchain. That's a financial technology. That's not a security. Okay, great. So then at least we know that the, continued operation of our network is not violating this order. That's number two. Um, so we need clarification on that. Is manufacturing our cold storage coins a security? No? Okay, well, let's get that removed from this thing. That's modifying. And then we get into the heart and the soul of this accusation of securities. And then we go, hey, look, we're not sure where the security is here. But we think that you think that when you say securities, you're talking about these mining seats. You're talking about the mining packages. Good news. We voluntarily have disabled signups on our website, not just for Texans, but for everybody. We shut it down. The network continues, the daily, mining distributions continue, but we turn that part off. You kind of voluntarily, and it is voluntary. You don't have to comply with an order. There are, potentially bad things that happen if you don't comply. They got to go to court and get a motion to compel, and if you violate the motion to compel, then that's where you start having motion contempt of court issues. So there's a process there. But the point is that we voluntarily turn this thing off. So we go there and we say, look, the network's running. The cold storage coins are being produced, not security, not a security. Um, we've turned off this thing that we think you're talking about when you say security. Oh, and by the way, have you seen this letter from the SEC? Check this out. But let's work through this. Let's get some clarity on this thing because, we're a substantial entity in the state. A lot of lives are affected, quite deeply by what you've done. The reputational damage is gigantic. You've made a lot of claims and accusations. We haven't seen any proof or evidence to back up this claim about the security. In fact, all the things that we have access to shows that we're not a security. And so, okay, there's a disagreement here, but let's adjudicate this, through a traditional, hearing. Let's have some evidence produced. Let's double check as to whether or not Mr. Gray can be served on that dirt road with the garage. Let's see if, you got it right before you end up harming more people in the state of Texas than we have been alleged to have harmed. And so that's what we need to do. That's what we talk about when we say set aside or modify. Get some clarification on exactly what we're dealing with here. Time is of the essence. We only have 30 or 31 days to do that. But it doesn't have to be done tonight. For them, it was an emergency. For us, it's part of a strategy. And what's the difference? The difference is, we knew this day was coming. We knew it. Even if we said, no, we don't think it's going to happen to us because we're not doing anything wrong, in our heart of hearts, we probably knew that at some point somebody was going to go, hey, we should mess with them. See how serious they are. Get them to produce some documents and details that actually back up the purchase of the mining hardware and the installation of the mining hardware and the acquisition of land for mining hardware and the payouts of commissions to representatives. It's fair. I hate to admit it, but so many times people get into these situations and they yell and scream, unfair, unjust, political persecution. Look, if I was a Texan, I would want to know that my government was, doing what they could to help keep me safe, and protect my rights. And so I have, strangely, a bit of empathy for this process that we're going through right now. But I don't take it as seriously as some of you may. And I hope you don't misunderstand what I'm saying. I'm saying that this process is a rite of passage. We have to go through this. We're going to go through this. It was going to happen sooner or later, and now it's happened. just as we're starting to break through to the next levels of, usefulness and utility and all that stuff. I mean, there are some exciting times ahead. We might as well get this out of the way now while we're still small. And we're not small. We're like a elephant hiding behind a peanut, as that has recently been explained to me. But we got to go through it, and we got to prove that we're the one in a million chance that they cannot even fathom. How is it that we've paid out commission every week for the last 97 weeks, even when our sales started to turn? That's when the traditional Ponzi dies. Oh, well, they were using X money to pay Y people on promises of investment. We never did that. We said if you put your cash in, we're going to follow through on building the mine, promoting the coin, and paying the commissions. That's what we said we'd do. We did it. We've done it for 98 weeks. And it's been a good journey. A lot of you have enjoyed it. And I would guess that if you're on this call right now, you're still here and you're still supporting us. And I hope you are. I hope you are. Because, first of all, we don't have money for refunds. And even if we did, we wouldn't do them anyway. Why? Because we're going to get through this. Now is a terrible time to sell and liquidate your TXE. I know it sounds crazy, guys. I'm not telling you to go out and buy anything. Normally people would say buy the dip. I'm not saying that. I'm saying always to tread carefully, do your own research, do your own legal assessments, talk to your own lawyers and all that stuff. Never do anything that you're not comfortable doing. Never put in more than you're willing to risk. We've said this every day that we've talked for almost 2 years now. But I am telling you to be careful, not in terms of buying, investing, risking, but in terms of selling, exiting, liquidating. Why? Number one, the market's fragile right now. There's not a lot of liquidity out there. Okay. Number two, um, I'm not sure how to word this, but consolidation happens at times like this. The 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 early adopters, kind of the amateur participants get scared. They get spooked. And they say, I'm out. I knew I shouldn't have done this. I'm out. And they exit. And they exit on the cheap. Who buys up those coins? Think about that and help us prevent potentially that happening here. I want you to have a vested interest in our success. If you've got a mining seat, your mining continues to pay out day in, day out. And so maybe you're not out forever, but just think about that as we go through this rite of passage, as we go through this, what I see to be a bit of a softball and deal with it. We'll deal with it over the next couple days and weeks. I've been on a lot of phone calls with a lot of experts, with a lot of PR consultants, damage control people, attorneys. None of them, none of them have been overly surprised or worried by what we're looking at here. Um, so let's get through it. Let's get through it. Let's get through it together. Let's get through it as friends. Let's get through it on the other side and go, glad that's behind us now. Glad we got all of that clarified. Um, but please consider that. I'm not going anywhere, guys. I'm going to continue to work day in, day out for our success. Good times and in bad, sickness and in health, in Asia and in any other part of the world at whatever hour of the day it is. I'll be here. Remember, I've only got two more Tuesday night calls left in me. But that's because those calls need to step up in terms of their professionalism and quality. And I can't do a Tuesday night 6 p.m. call while I'm like in my pajamas waiting for my coffee to show up. I will continue to do regular weekly calls. They just won't be on a set America US Central Time Zone schedule. We're going to have to scatter them at different times so that they can work around my schedule. I might be flying, I might be traveling, I might be, presenting, speaking. Hopefully, I am out there, you know, doing my job, which is promoting our project. One of my jobs. So that's what I'm going to continue to do. And again, guys, I hope we stay friends through this. I hope you understand that we knew this thing was going to be a risk. We knew we'd have some bumpy roads that we were going to have to get through together. And that's exactly what we're going to do. So That's me. That's what we got going on. I don't know if we have any questions. I don't see a Q&A section. Did we disable the questions for tonight's chat? Rob, Gage, Mitchell, Tim, you guys out there, you want to chime in on anything here? Do I get any reprimands for saying all the wrong things?
Well done, Bobby. Well done. And the questions haven't been disabled. It was just this is our opportunity call typically, and we don't have the questions on this call.
Okay, got it, got it, got it. That's good. Tim, what's your take, man? What's it like there, boots on the ground?
Good job. I think that was a very clear explanation of what we're going through right now, and the challenges that we're looking at. But I think step one, like you said, is securing the right law firm that's going to navigate these waters for us. So we're excited to go to get that done and to go through this process so that we can get back to work. That's what we really want to do.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's what we have to do. And that's what they try to get you to not do. You know, you spend all of your time on procedural stuff and you forget to run the business. And so it's really interesting right now because I'm over in Hong Kong. I'm presenting today. I've got business in the region. I was planning on coming back to today as well. But if we're not able to do any promotion, you know, I was going to throw the Bobby Land birthday bash in Houston on the 23rd. And it's like, well, is that the promotion of an unregistered security? You know, we have to err on the side of caution here. So unfortunately, that event's canceled. And unfortunately, I'm not going to come back right now and, you know, put myself in a position to inadvertently um, violate, you know, one of the terms of this order. So I'm going to stay out here. I'm going to keep working. I think that our team got together and we decided that it's best for me to be as productive as possible as we go through this stuff. And so that's what I'm going to do. And people will accuse me of running. You can't really run when you're already here. If I was in Texas, I wouldn't leave. But since I'm in Hong Kong and I'm presenting and promoting, and we've got events coming up in March in Europe for Paris Blockchain Week, then we've got a whole bunch of events that we've already invested in to promote TEXITcoin back in Dubai for the Token 2049 conference there. That's the work that I'm going to do. So I'm going to keep working hard. I'll keep you guys abreast of the developments and accomplishments. And the hope is that in short order, we're able to modify or set aside. Remember, those are the words we're looking for here. As you guys are out there communicating it with your friends and family, that's what I would say. I'd say we've been issued a cease and desist. You can reference the exact number. They can look it up on the website. They can read it for themselves. You know, you can go through there with your, sharpened pencil and figure out where you think they have it right and where you think they have it wrong. And we're going to do that with the best people that we can find, the best, qualified professionals that we can find in this realm. You know, look, guys, these entities keep taking some pretty bad beatings from crypto space. There's more clarity coming down the pipeline on exactly how to do these things. We've already gotten quite a bit out of the SEC in the last couple of years. And so, you know, we're going to find the best people that are the most familiar with this stuff, and we're going to work to modify or set aside this order. Hopefully, that clears the path for us to, conduct our operation, to proceed down the path of our mission unencumbered, without interference. What that looks like, when that's going to happen, I don't know. We've never done this before, and so I'm not sure if, requesting a hearing as per, the section 4007.104, it says we may request a hearing. Does that mean we get the hearing tomorrow? Do we get the hearing in like 4 to 6 months? Does that mean we get the hearing sometime in 2033? Like, I don't know. I'm not sure how quickly
I think we
that
let
can
the
be.
professionals deal with that, right? They'll
Yeah.
deal with, and then as we get more information and they allow us to say, hey, we can share that. I'm sure we're going to be very transparent and share with the community. We got a lot of great people that want to know what's going on. So as soon as we get more information, you'll get it also.
Yeah, yeah, and guys, remember that's been part of the bedrock of this project's philosophy and part of the project's success. Brutal transparency and honesty, and that's going to continue to be the light that guides us through this challenge and on to the other side of it. That's what got us here. That's what you can expect from me and my team, and that's what we'll continue to do moving forward. Anybody else out there with comment, suggestion? I guess that's it. Well, guys, it's coming up on 9 o'clock here. That means I got a couple hours to actually prepare for my speech. Let me show you guys what I'm gonna speak about real quick. Let's keep it um, somewhat positive. I will find the slideshow here that I put together. Oh, I know where it is. Hold on one second. You guys can get a preview. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to um, present this live. I'm going to try if I can, but here's what I'm presenting. So from gold to Bitcoin to Texas, the evolution of honest money. And I'm going to jump right into authenticity out of the gate. I'm going to tell people a little bit about my background so that they have an opportunity to consider whether or not I should be considered a credible expert on this matter of honest money. Next slide shows the quick evolution of money. How did we get to where we are today? We started out in the ancient times bartering, your chicken for my horseshoe. Then we evolved into, metal money that served pretty well for a couple thousand years. We struggled with debasement issues. Then we had paper money, paper warehouse certificates backing up that money. And I don't know if you can see this, but this is an old school United States of America silver certificate. And what a difference money looks like today. Let me see if I can pull up an image of money so you can see how different it is. $1 bill. A $1 bill today, I guess it still says United States of America on it. Um, but these other ones, oh, where did it go? Oh, there it is. These other ones, instead of saying, let me share with you real quick here. Instead of saying silver certificate at the top, they say Federal Reserve note. Take a look at a $1 bill. It says Federal Reserve note. What is a Federal Reserve note? This is a silver certificate. It is redeemable by bearer on demand in silver, payable to the bearer on demand. This is what our money was for a very long time. It was a warehouse receipt that was backed up by silver. Does anybody remember when they got rid of that promotion? When did they stop producing? When did they stop producing silver certificates? Silver certificates ended in 1964, along with pulling the silver out of our coinage in 1964. What a rough year that was. What else happened around that time? So anyway, we've got the silver certificate, which is what our money was here in America. It was backed up by gold and silver. If you look at a $20 bill, that was a gold certificate. And of course, the price of gold and silver had very stable, very steady values for a very long time. An ounce of gold was about 20 bucks for, 150 years from the end of the 18th century, about the time that we started saying things like, um, you know, all men are created equal and have equal opportunity for life, liberty, and property. That promotion as well was discontinued some number of years later. But that's what money was. Money was gold and silver. And an ounce of silver was a dollar. An ounce of gold was 20 bucks. And it stayed like that for a long time until the Gold Confiscation Act of 1933, when one of America's favorite presidents, FDR, made it illegal to hoard gold, as he said. Again, guys, there's a lot of monetary history that goes into this conversation and what it got us to where we are today. But from that silver certificate, of course, we got paper money, and there's a $100 trillion note from the Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe. That's what hyperinflation looks like, in case you were curious. And then we get digital money, which is what we're, working with today. But what really is money? At the core fundamental root of it all, money is a medium of exchange, it's a unit of account, and it's a store of value. We've all been through that a number of times. And, we can look at how far money has gotten away from those basic properties over the years. And so then we ask ourselves the question, is gold money? Is a 50-gram Donald Trump gold coin that I produced some number of years ago. And of course, gold is money, It's a great medium of exchange. It's a great unit of account. It's been a good store of value for thousands of years. But is anyone actually using it as money today? And so you could look at that question two ways. Is gold money? Sure. Is gold being used as money? Is it practical to use as money? No, it's really not today, and that's a real shame. So then we move on. Is Bitcoin money? If we ask ourselves that question about gold, let's ask ourselves that question about Bitcoin. Well, it's a great medium of exchange. It's a great unit of account. It seems to be a pretty volatile but usable store of value. Okay, well, let's look at it the other way as well. Is anyone actually using Bitcoin as money? Very, very, very few people are using Bitcoin as money. Why not? Why aren't they? Next slide. Is TEXITcoin money? Excellent question. I would argue that TEXITcoin is more likely to be money than gold and Bitcoin because of a couple different things. And really, guys, you have to give me a little bit of rope here. I want you to believe that TEXICoin is good money because of community. If you look back at that document, what's really on trial here, what's really being contested is network marketing. And that's really a shame. Now, look, this is real, real rare coming from me. This is real. Is rare the right word? Real something coming from me because I've never done network marketing before. I've never been a fan of network marketing before. I would never be caught dead defending network marketing before. But you know what network marketing does? It brings together a community of people that have a shared vested interest in the community's success. That's especially true in network marketing deals that have binary compensation plans because we have to work together to accomplish the goal and get paid. And I would argue that what's on trial here isn't TEXITcoin. It's not TEXITcoin mining. It's not our wallet app. It's not our cold storage coins. It's the way that we're going out there and building a community. And it's on trial because it's working, because it brings people together, because it worked. And what makes that powerful is that a currency is only valuable, money is only valuable if there's a marketplace where it can be spent and used. If you go into a marketplace right now with gold coins, you're not trading gold coins for goods and services. You're going to spend your paper money, those dollars that stuff that we know isn't backed up anymore by gold and silver. That's called Gresham's law. Gresham's law says that bad money pushes good money out of the marketplace. You leave your gold and silver at home, you spend your paper. Makes sense. Why? Because the gold and silver costs more. You got to ship it, you got to mint it, you got to buy it, you got to store it. There's a lot of work that goes into getting, holding, owning gold and silver. Well, the same thing can be said today now for Bitcoin. Bitcoin has become what they say, digital gold, which means people would rather save it and spend the dollars. Good for Bitcoin, bad for Bitcoin as money, because that means people aren't looking around in the marketplace for an opportunity to spend Bitcoin. Think about it. Bitcoin's down, what, close to 50% from its high? How many people are out there saying, man, I can't wait to spend my Bitcoin, which is now down 50% in value? No, the hodlers are doing what the hodlers do. They're holding on for dear life. They're saying, man, I hope it comes back up. The difference between them and us is that we have the ability to build a community that gives our currency value. I don't do it. We do it together. Money is only valuable when it has a marketplace where it can be traded for goods and services. That's Metcalfe's law, where the value of the currency grows, the value of the tool, the value of the network grows as the community grows. We have a mechanism, whether you or anyone else likes it or not, to bring people together. Affiliate marketing, direct sales, network marketing, MLM, whatever you call it, when it's done right, when it's done well, when it's done the way that we did it, honestly, openly, transparently, it works. And it's not illegal. It's not a Ponzi, as people will come to find out. It's not a pyramid, as people will come to find out. It's a legitimate tool for building a community that creates value. And that's what we have with TEXITcoin. That's what the other guys had. That's what they lost. That's what we have. We have the ability to bring a community together that gives our currency value and usability as money. And I want to leave you guys with that, or a picture of this car. I want to leave you guys with that on this call because that's what we're doing. We're building a community of people that want to use a complementary currency to easily transact, to save money, to keep money in the community. That's what we're doing. We're making friends along the way. We're earning some commission along the way. We're having some fun along the way. We're going to deal with regulatory compliance issues along the way. But we're going to continue to share our message of peace and prosperity with anyone and everyone that's willing to listen. I don't care where they are on planet Earth. It is our moral responsibility to share the message of peace and prosperity, whether anyone likes it or not. And we're going to continue to work hard to share that message. And if people conclude that TEXIT Coin is building a valuable system where people can trade zeros and ones for goods and services, and they decide to use that, then it'll be successful. Our job is to share that story with the world, ask them to listen, ask them to take us seriously, show them we're going to go through the same kind of stuff everybody else does. And we're going to do it with a smile. Because if we're not having fun while we're fighting for freedom, then we've done it all wrong. I'm Bobby Gray. I'm the founder of TEXITcoin. I'm the guy that's going to lead the ship as we work through the storm that's ahead. And hopefully, I'm going to do it with your help, your love, your prayers, your best wishes, and your support. From my family to yours, thanks for tuning in, and I'll catch you guys again on Tuesday. Good night.